I'm Gary Dolan, Class of 70 Gift Committee, and I'm here with my three other Gift Committee members, Dick Roshkob, Mike Toriano, brother of Mark Toriano, Class of 68, and Tui Emery. And we're here today to dedicate a replica of the Southeast Asia Memorial Pavilion map and interactive screens. They currently reside down on the Heritage Trail, and you might ask, well, why are we doing this when we've got it all down on the Heritage Trail? The fact of the matter is the cadets weren't coming down to the Heritage Trail, and we thought it was important enough to have this exhibit of Southeast Asia and what our graduates did in Southeast Asia on the interactive displays available to them on a day-to-day basis. And we couldn't think of a better place to put it than right here. As some of you know, at our 30th reunion, our class decided to focus on heritage. And that was to support, back then it was called the USAFA Endowment, now the USAFA Foundation. And AOG, one of their tenets is to focus on heritage of the graduates. And that really lit a fire under our classmates. And even during a down economy, we were able to raise millions of dollars to promote heritage. And that was very, very important. We started with a replica memorial wall at the head of the Heritage Trail, and then followed up with the Plaza of Heroes and Pavilion, Southeast Asia Memorial Pavilion. And now we're here today to dedicate this. As you might expect, this was to coincide with our 50th reunion, which was supposed to be this fall. And we'll be doing our 51st reunion next year, thanks to the virus. But our secondary goal was to make sure we dedicated this before General Silveria retired. And we made that goal, just barely. Projects like this are important because it really tells the cadets what prior graduates have done in their careers. There's a whole civilian side that's also mentioned along the Heritage Trail, and we're focusing on the military side. And we hope that maybe this exhibit will allow history classes, maybe even honor and ethics classes, to take place here with this as a backdrop. Projects like this require a lot of help, and we can't do it alone. No single class can do it alone. So we'd like to thank our donors for sure, but also some other folks that made it happen. Class in 1965, General Howell Estes and Bart Holliday led the money-raising campaign to provide the kiosk over in the corner. It's just like the kiosk we have down in the pavilion. It hosts the Return with Honor video, directed and narrated by Tom Hanks, of the history of the POWs in the Vietnam War. Very, very good. And nobody's going to stand and watch an hour and 22 minutes, but it's broken down into chapters. So when the cadets have a chance getting a cup of coffee next door, they can come over and watch it a chapter at a time. Secondly, Jim Nance. Jim Nance, class of 71, is a fine arts sculptor. We went to him originally and said we would like you to put together a map of Southeast Asia. And he thought, a map of Southeast Asia. And after we told him what we wanted and picked him up off the floor, turns out this is the third map of Southeast Asia he's done. Where's the second one?
Museum of Flight in Seattle.
Seattle has a Museum of Flight, and we've done one for them as well. So Jim Nance has done 95% of all the bronzes in the Plaza of Heroes and the Memorial Pavilion. He's a fantastic guy, and we thank him. Equally important is Prime Meridian Corporation Company, our contractor. And they took our ideas of providing stories of our graduates in Southeast Asia, and put it into snippets that are understandable on these interactive screens. Helped by Dick Roshkob, who did kind of the initial writing of the stories, and they broke it up into understandable pieces. They told us at the beginning, nobody will read more than 150 words, no matter how exciting it is. And so they put little snippets of 150 words on these
Was
screens.
my writing not understandable?
Well, let's just say it was more than 150 words at times. So that's Prime Meridian. They also they also just finished a new web design for the Class of 70 and the AOG that takes all the information and everything along the Heritage Trail and puts it on the web, so people who can't come here or people who want to look at it in their rooms can have access to it. Vince Renault and Greg Nidler, both from the foundation. Where are they? There's Greg. Where's Vince?
He was here earlier.
I know. He decided to leave. He thought he was going to get the bill, I think. But Greg monitored the finances to make sure we stayed on the straight and narrow for this project. As Greg remembers, it was, 8 years ago when we got our first donations. And he maintained the books. Vince helped let the contract and monitor all of the projects. Dwayne Boyle, I don't think Dwayne's here, the Academy architect. He's been a very strong supporter of heritage projects in the class of 70. As you might expect, when you donate something to the U.S. government, there's a stack of requirements that you have to fulfill. And he made sure we crossed the T's and dotted the I's, or in our case, crossed the I's and dotted the T's to make sure everything was copacetic. We thank Dwayne. General Ron Yates, as it turns out, when we donate something to the Academy, we have to go before the Memorial Board. Well, it was scheduled, and then it was rescheduled, and then it came out with the final schedule, and that coincided with all four of us being out of town. So Ron Yates stood up and volunteered to give the presentation to the Memorial Board, and was our action officer to make sure the Memorial Board got the right story, and that worked out really well. And finally, I guess the Academy Memorial Board, they saw the benefit of having this display and also worked with the Dean's office to make sure we had a place to put it in the Dean's spaces. And this turned out extremely well. And last but not least, Raz and Gina, who helped organize this. And I don't know, I heard whispers, it's like herding cats, trying to get everybody's schedule together. But they did a fine job, especially considering the General's constrained schedule here the last few days of him being superintendent. We're proud to have finally finished this project. As I mentioned, it was 8 years ago when we came up with the idea. It was originally scheduled to be put up last summer, and then it was the fall, and then it was right before Christmas, and schedules couldn't be worked out with the contractors. And then Friday before the Monday of spring break, it was to go up, and everything shut down. We were told you're not wanted in the cadet spaces. So anyway, we finally got everything together, and this was put up a few weeks ago. And I think it turned out pretty well. And the few times I've been up here with Vince, the cadets have been here interacting with the screens, and it's worked out so far really well. General Severia, we appreciate the support you've given us over the last 3 years. I was mentioning to him earlier, First time I met him was at the stands of an early basketball game. And he was sitting behind the coach's wife, and she introduced us. And I took that opportunity to tell him what we were planning on doing here. And he said, "Piece of cake." That's what we wanted to hear. But it was a little harder than a piece of cake. But we thank you for taking the time during your hectic final few days here at the Academy. And the class of 70 just wanted to say that we're proud of you, your service to the country, the service to the Air Force, and the impact that you've had on the lives of the cadets while you've been here. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gary. So many events that I've done in the past couple weeks, and including yesterday, where I had a chance to talk to hundreds of graduates. It's hard not to get choked up. It's hard not to get choked up about our institution. As I was talking to the members of Class of 70, and they were asking me about my plans to leave, etc. You do leave USAFA, but it never leaves you, and it's a part of it. And the Class of 70 stands here as an example of that and how you've given back in so many ways. So thank you. Let me first thank the foundation and the AOG for what you do. We'll talk a little bit about this program here and this display, but it also represents so many other programs that the foundation and the AOG has really shepherded our graduates. So many improvements at the Air Force Academy, so many things that we benefit from on a daily basis that really make a difference. So Mike, thank you to the foundation and to the AOG for all of that work. Gary, thank you for those kind words, but a special thanks to the Class of 70, not just for being here, but for your energy behind that. A new superintendent at the time told you that it was a piece of cake, and certainly it wasn't that. But your persistence and your energy is really what was needed, and so thank you for doing that. And what an appropriate place here in our hall of exemplars of the classes, which I think is really so important. And this stands really as an example of those that served in Southeast Asia. And I know that really was your original intent, but what you're also doing is showing the graduates, showing the cadets, and showing the faculty really that long blue line. Because at some other point on the other side of this hall or another corner around there will be another display of another time where graduates have served and graduates have given so much. And so this stands as an example. What a special thanks, though, is needed for the class. Gary talked about the millions. There are hundreds of thousands of dollars involved in this project, but the class has given millions to so many other things and really stands as an example to other classes. You did mention the Class of 65, so a special thanks to them. But it certainly goes beyond the dollar figures and goes beyond those monetary gifts, that it's really about the dedication to our heritage and dedication to those graduates. And you stand here as an example of paying it forward as graduates, an example to the rest of us in the long blue line. So thank you very much. And this map is certainly part of that legacy of the long blue line in the Southeast Asia Theater of Operations, as so many graduates that displayed extraordinary acts of heroism, and many of them giving their last full measure in Southeast Asia. And we also know that was the battlefield of the time, and that the cadets now, they're going to be graduates, are going to experience the battlefield of the 21st century. And hopefully they can use the heritage of this time, what they're learning today at the Air Force Academy, to prepare them for that battlefield of the 21st century. And this campus is as scenic as ever, and perhaps it has a special touch when it's covered with snow, even if it is the first week in September. And it's as scenic as ever when it's like that, and somehow is maybe too distant from the realities of the battlefield. And this helps us show the realities of the battlefield. And you mentioned the cadets will be by here. they'll spend 5 minutes on this screen, and the next time they're by, they'll spend 10 minutes over there. Perhaps some of them might touch the 150 words. We can challenge that, but it will stand as an example for that heritage for cadets for many years to come. So again, thank you, a sincere thank you. We all owe you a huge debt of gratitude for your energy as well as your passion about this project and carrying it through. And thank you for all you've done, not just for the cadets that are here, but for the faculty and for the United States Air Force Academy. So thank you very much. Thank you.